Curling Championships, the men's final. And it's between the host Canada and Scotland. Now, despite curling's traditions being firmly rooted in Scotland, their record at the World Championships could only be best described as poor. Since '59, they've managed just 2 championship wins and will start as clear underdogs against the world's #1 team, the Canadians, who've amassed a total of 25 world titles in the 40 years the championships have been in operation. Canada, once again, are led by Jeff Stoughton, who'll be looking to lift his 2nd title. And alongside me is Bob Kelly. Now, Bob, it's for the Scots a huge day. I mean, to actually take this championship against the world's #1 side, and this year in particular, they've not had a bad record against the Canadians.
That's right. Obviously, Hammy will be relishing the opportunity to put Scotland back on this world curling map. And as you say, they've not been without success this year. They played in the World Curling Tour final championships in Winnipeg last month and happened to be drawn in the same section as Jeff Stoughton and his rink here, and they were victorious on that occasion. So they lost the round robin in the Worlds during this week, but they're 1-1 at the moment, and we'll certainly be hoping to make this 2 out of 3.
Scotland's task is huge, but in Skip Hammy McMillan, they've just the type of character they need to overcome such huge odds. Appearing at his 4th championships, the highlight of his career, a silver medal from the Worlds. And alongside him, Warwick Smith, also a World Championship silver medal. This is his 3rd championship, and he's looking for revenge. He skipped the '96 team that lost to Stoughton. Second, Bob, is Ewan McDonald, who's just 23 years of age, the youngest and least experienced, but he's shown a surprisingly high degree of calm in such a tense atmosphere already in these past couple of weeks.
That's right. Ewan's actually played very well indeed. He is a young player, much younger than the rest of the team. This is a relatively new rink that Hammy McMillan's put together this year and brought Ewan McDonald into the team. Ewan formerly skipped a team of his own, but the talent was spotted and Hammy went headhunting, and now Ewan's playing with Hammy at 2nd position.
And the lead, Peter Loudon, his 3rd championships and another silver medal holder. And should the need have arisen, the alternative, one of Scotland's most experienced in Gordon Muirhead. No survivors then from Scotland's last triumph back in 1991. And the answer to the other burning question is yes, the news of Scotland's 5 Nations Championship triumph has reached the team, and the effect was pretty positive.
Well, Canada playing their usual aggressive start to this game. They have the last rock advantage by virtue of finishing top of the round robin positions. They were an 8-1, 8 wins, 1 loss record, and that gives them the right to have the last stone in this final.
Scotland's record on reaching the final 6-3, and they have been defeated by the Canadians, but that really isn't going to matter, is it?
I don't think so. They would know that any time they're going to meet Canada, they're going to have to play at the top of their game to have a chance of winning. I don't think the game they had they'll be disappointed in. It didn't come out on the winning side, but I'm sure they'll be happy to be in this final and a chance to redress the balance. It's a good draw there from Ewan McDonald. Jeff Stoughton threw down the gauntlet right away when Hammy McMillan called for the first stone into the house. Jeff Stoughton called the corner guard, the side guard, right away, and Hammy has gone for it by playing the draws round his corner guard, and the team have been playing well. That's a mistake though. Went for the yellow in the house and caught that guard. Rolling over and covers the Scottish stone in the 4-foot circle there, so not a good start for Gary Vandenberg.
McMillan has said before the start of today's game that he doesn't have any particular strategy for beating Stoughton. I'm ready for anything he throws at me. We don't have a game plan at all. We just go out there and play whatever we have to play, and the best team will win on the day. Simplistic, but fairly true, of course.
It's certainly true, and I just wonder whether Hammy's just not wanting to give too much away to the enemy with comments like that. I think the team will probably have had a chat to decide how they want to play this. They could play a defensive game in the first few ends to try and not lose touch with they're formidable opponents, or they could decide to go for everything and play an aggressive draw game. And that certainly looks as though the way they're prepared to play it. That's a super draw.
The Canadians have got ground to make up for their ladies team, who failed so dramatically this week. Just look at the effort that's being put in to just get every last millimetre of distance. And it's a fairly distinctive style of brushing that they've got, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, but they're very effective. Indeed, the sweeping in these Canadian teams to survive at the top of their game in the competitions they play in there, they really have to be very good at it and put a lot of emphasis and practice into it. Just hear them talking some times there. That's because they've been using a stopwatch to time the stone. The faster the ice is, the longer the time it takes to get from one end of the ice to the other. In other words, the slower the player has to release it at.
Don't worry about the rate. It's pretty good, like. Whoa. Sit down. Needs to sit. Whoa. Boy, Warwick. Nice shot, Warwick.
Warwick Smith, of course, the third player for Hammy McMillan, hadn't played any kind of draw shot, so really didn't know what speed the ice was running at. So he was asking the players what kind of times they were getting on their stopwatches to give him some clue as to how hard to throw the stone. And he's played that just about where he wanted it.
Okay.
Guarding that yellow stone, the red stone, sorry, of Canada, preventing it being tapped up further into the house.
Wait, sir. Whoa, if you can.
Jonathan Meade being asked to play the draw shot here. This is pretty typical of the way Jeff Stoughton and his team play. Very aggressive, no hint of trying to play some takeouts and clean up a bit of a mess they've got into. They're continuing to play the draws, and that's a fabulous draw from Jonathan Meade at this stage of the game.
So early, but the accuracy already clearly evident. That was a marvellous shot. And
well, the same goes for Jonathan Meade there as did for Warwick Smith. He hadn't had a draw at all in this game, and to produce one right in the top of the button there like that is quite amazing. Canadians looking happy.
Well, there's certainly been no standing on ceremony in this the opening end.
Absolutely not. We've got a lot of stones in play. Anything could happen here. Canada holding last stone, but I'm sure Hammy will be hoping they can play some good shots here and put some pressure on them. They're swinging too much. I think it's just going to hit that red stone, which it did.
I'll just identify now the right weight, but just not quite the position that was required.
Okay. Keep it up, eh?
But we could be on for a huge score here in the opening end, which is most unlike a final.
That's right. They certainly seem to be throwing caution to the wind here. Certainly the way Jeff Stoughton plays, I don't think the fact that this is the final, that this is surprising at all. I would have expected him to play this way, but I'm a bit surprised that Hammy's taking him on like this.
And dispatched with aplomb.
Well, Canada were worried that even though they were lying one shot in the 4-foot circle or biting the button there, that Scotland had 2 yellow stones just in the front ring that they could use to tap up onto that red stone. So by playing the takeout there, Jonathan Meade has taken one of the options away, but there's still a yellow there that Hammy is looking at. You know what I'm saying? He's going to tap it up. Yep.
Once again, there's another full house inside here, and has brought the overall attendance for this tournament virtually up to the 100,000 mark.
3 seconds is good, Hammy. Warwick's weight was good, he was just the line, you know. 3 seconds. Just touch it back, eh?
Just touch it back. Hopefully something will appear with the last one.
give you an idea about the consistency of the Canadian team in each department. Skip first, second, lead second and third. They top of the average table, and in terms of the team performance, of course. So, although they struggled a little, perhaps, in the semi-finals, for the period, they are clearly the most consistent.
It's got the weight, they say. The line's looking good. Really needed a bit more weight. Needed to draw a little bit more as well. Needed to hit the front stone a little more squarely. Even if it had done so, that wouldn't have had enough weight to have knocked the red back. But there's another yellow one right in there.
Well, there's so many stones in and around there that this could swing either way, unless some are taken out, and it's a very dangerous strategy for somebody. I mean, well, it looks like whoever goes down in this particular end is going to go down to possibly 3 points. I mean, that is entirely, well, it's actually looking more probable now than possible, but
certainly possible. Jeff Stoughton, of course, plays this kind of game, has great confidence in his own ability to make use of that last stone that he holds and get them out of any trouble that they may find themselves in. He's prepared to gamble and look for a score of 2 or 3. This is certainly the way he's known to play the game. He tries to play these aggressive ends in the early part of the game, get a lead on his opponents, and then just hold on to it. So,
well, the one thing it does make for, it's pretty exciting viewing.
Looks to me as though he's playing the takeout on that yellow stone to stop Hammy from playing the tap up the raise shot that he tried with his last one, in case he makes a better job of it on the second occasion. Has to be a little bit careful, because it's a possibility he could drive this back onto his own stone that's shot, but played with great accuracy, so no danger of that. A good shot.
And of course, at the end of it looks fairly hard and intense competition, you'd expect some of the players to be at their most accurate, but we've seen a few glaring misses, especially in the women's semi-final and the final. And
you were going to be able to chop it past that.
But they've started off well. The mistakes will come somewhere. It's a long match.
Come in a wee bit. Come in a bit. That. This would have gave you the last time. Bring it in a wee bit from last time. It will swing big when it goes. Yeah.
McMillan trying to thread one through those guards. Not an awful lot of room to play with, but he thinks he can use the curl on the ice to put one right through there, tap that red Canadian counter, and if he got it right, he'd be lying 3 pretty good shots in there. A big call.
Pretty tight hole through
there. It is indeed. I think he feels, though, that he has 2 good yellow counters in there, that even if he fails with this, he's unlikely to do any damage. And if he doesn't make the shot, he may only give up 1, which would be no big disaster at the first end.
Line's good. What's the weight like? Weight's good. Watch it. Whoa.
Communication between the team there.
Watch it now.
Sweeping very hard on the stone, trying to hold it up, stop it from bending. Have they got it past? They have.
Oh, what an exceptionally good play that was, and
incredible
easily
shot.
an equal of what went before it. And there's the reaction and pegging back the Canadians.
Scottish fans with Hammy's sister, I noticed there, swinging a flag.
Well, that gives you a clearer indication of just how tight that was.
Well, I said Jeff Stoughton would be confident of being able to make use of his last stone and bail him out of any trouble he'd get into, but frankly, I can't see how he's going to get one shot out of this. He's possibly got a raise in this red one's what he's going for. He's going to try and drive this red stone onto the 2 yellows in the 4-foot, try and remove 2 of them. I don't see how he can possibly hope to get shot out of this, but there's 3 lying against him, so he has to cut down. He certainly doesn't want to lose more than a 1 or a 2 at the first end.
Well, it's quite incredible that at this stage of the competition we're seeing virtually the full range of shot making.
It's a very precise shot that Jeff Stoughton's taking on here. They are very accurate curlers, of course, all the Canadians, but this is not a shot you'd expect to make every time. Even he wouldn't. Oh, he's played it well. Is he going to roll that one far enough? He has, you know, he's cut them down too.
Leaning so hard into that.
Cut Scotland down to 1 when they could easily have picked up 2 or possibly even 3 out of that end.
Out come the flags. Scotland take just the single point from the opening end, and what an opening end that was. 2-2, Bob. The Scots have been able to counter almost everything that they've been able to throw at them, both psychologically and on the ice, and stay with them. I mean, are you surprised how well the Scots are playing?
Yes, I think they're holding it together very well. I don't say they'd be intimidated by this Canadian team, but they do know what the task is that they have in hand, and it wouldn't be very difficult for them to struggle in this tremendous arena here. But they've all been here before, with the exception of Ewan MacDonald. In fact, they've all won silver medals before, so they've certainly been in exactly this situation before. They'll be hoping it's not a silver medal position clearly this time, but no, they seem to be holding together very well.
I mean, it was after that that incredible opening end that we saw that was full of attacking intent by both teams, and it was almost like the Canadians were trying to scare the Scots into virtual submission very early on, as if to say, well, this is, you know, this is the best that we can do, and this is how we're going to take you. But I think they were perhaps surprised how well the Scots stayed at them, and it's probably a mark of respect that the game slowed down and they're perhaps looking at an alternate strategy.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm certain that that's what Jeff Stoughton was trying to do. He went in there with all guns blazing, played a very, very aggressive first end, looked as though he was getting away with it all right, but as you say, Scotland hit back with some tremendous shots. Hammy McMillan's last tap back to line 3 was just a superb shot. And I think you're right. I think maybe Canada are thinking, well, you know, we want to win this title. Perhaps this isn't just the way to do it, so they're maybe steadying up a little bit.
Good, good. Did you say yes, Jeff? Hey, no. Did you say yes? No. Sorry, I thought I heard one.
Once again, still surprised to see the Canadian team without the talent, or the style perhaps, as much as the talent of Wayne Madar. I mean, he actually added something extra to the event.
Well, yes, I think Jeff Stoughton has a very different style. He's quite quiet, kind of laid back character, but nonetheless a very, very competent curler.
Again, the Scots reply is firm and to the point.
Has this end been played in the house? Scotland with the last stone. Trying to make a good hit and roll behind that centre guard there. It's behind the tee line, so Scotland could draw up to it. They may play a little bit of weight to try and tap it back. Depends just how much of it they can see from the other end. Well, you can see by the amount of ice how far away from the object stone Hammy McMillan was holding the brush there, that this is just a quiet weight shot, no great speed behind it. Ewan MacDonald trying to draw one down towards that red stone of Canada's. Sweepers judging it. They like it. Trying to get that yellow stone right up on top of the red one. Just pulled up a little bit short there. But in shot position.
93% is some statistic after 5 ends and at the end of such a long period of competition.
Absolutely. It's not quite perfection, but pretty close to it.
What is going to happen here?
Good. It's good.
It's Canada's coach and 5th man looking on interestedly, obviously.
They've had plenty of time. I mean, for people that maybe have not been watching through the week, they've now got three minutes at the end of each end. And of course, that huge 15-minute chunk at the end of the 5th end. And we talked about possibly getting too much tactics, too much time to talk, and too much time to think.
Well, I think so. I really think the players would probably be quite happy with a 5th end break, but probably 5 or 6 minutes would be enough. The breaks between the ends, I really think the players would probably just rather get on. If they've made a good score at the end before, they want to go on and capitalise on it. If they're maybe behind in the game, they really just want to go on and try and get back in, make some play and get back at their opposition.
Well, another reply with additional dividend for the Scots.
Yes, it's looking quite good for them at the moment. Having said that, the guard that's out front is very near the middle line, which when Scotland have last stone, they wouldn't necessarily want to have a short stone there, but they're lying 2 stones in the house at the moment, so putting the pressure on the Canadians.
They're
Powerful
really
sweeping.
having to lean into this to extract again every last centimetre.
Didn't quite get it there, but that's a good position. Scots have to be careful of that one. It's not counting out either of the 2 Scottish stones, but it doesn't have to be moved very far up into the house before it would do so.
Yeah, just draw. The draw.
We touch off for it.
Was that 295?
Right, you looking at 305, 305, eh?
Just a draw nominated, I heard them saying, so I think Warwick Smith has been asked to play this one up right up to the shot of his that's already in the house. A draw shot means one that's round about the T-weight line that runs across the circle, as you see there. In fact, something pretty much like that, I think, would be what he was asked for. It's a superb shot.
Well, for the first time since the opening end, the stones beginning to amass in and around the house, and once again we're looking at perhaps multiple scores here.
Multiple scores, but I think Jeff Stoughton's got his mind on multiple takeouts. However he does this, I think he'll be looking to either drive the yellow Scottish stone back onto the 2 counters, 2 shot stones, or else play down to the red one that Jonathan Meade played with his last stone and drive that onto the 2 yellows.
Well, it's either that or we bump. The thing is, we're putting them in here, though. That's the only bad part.
Yeah. I think we play the yellow.
Yeah.
They're trying to decide
Again,
which one to go.
They're going to play the yellow. And once again, it's not 100% visible, but the last time they tried a shot like that, it worked to perfection. And again, that was at the end of the first end when the Scots were bumped down from 3 to 1. And there it is.
That's right. This time, though, it's a Scottish stone that he's driving onto 2 other Scottish stones. So even the stone that's moved up into the house, he needs to spin that one out of there as well, or else it will still count. So another big shot for Jeff Stoughton.
It's not failed yet.
Sweeper's on it early, though, shouting hard. Thinks it might be oh no, they're off now. Thought maybe it was drawing too much. Well, a very good shot indeed. Still left 1 Scottish counter in there, but under the circumstances, I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Takes the immediate danger of a big end away. Although Scotland could still count a 2. They're lying 1 and playing, and a 2 at this stage of the game would be a very useful count indeed. Would
be the first 2 of this game. We've had singles scored in virtually alternate ends.
See.
I like that. Even if it comes up to there, Hammy, it's not bad. Leave your choices. I like that.
I like that there.
Aye, precisely.
Even if I'm sitting out in the
Another
open.
two would give Scotland, of course, a lead.
There's a swing down there.
And psychologically, as we move toward the seventh end, you can see the finishing line almost from there.
Well, that's right. Score of 2 here would certainly be psychologically a big blow in Scotland's favour.
You fancy?
6 ends gone, there's only 4 to go, there's less than half of the game left. That would mean that Canada would have to claw back 3 shots in order to win the match in the 4 remaining ends.
We're looking for what, 305? 3. It's got to be at the back of the tee anyway.
Yeah, just back 4, eh?
Seem to have decided shot they're playing. I think they're trying to come right round with a draw shot and draw to the yellow stone they have already there and count their 2 shots.
On then.
Keep an eye sitting down, though.
Line. Whoa, looks plenty. Whoa, right off.
Watch out, sit down.
Whoa, needs to sit.
Sitting down.
Line's good.
Sweepers think it needs swept, sitting down, they're saying. Powerful sweeping now.
Nice shot, Hammy.
Round to that back red, that may have been what he was going for. That certainly looked as though the way they called it, so it's a very good shot.
Good there, though.
It's a great shot.
Final Canadian stone. There's the Scottish support, and there's plenty of it dotted around the arena inside this crowd that's just short of 6,000, which is capacity. A few seats around left.
Yeah, and just give him 2.
Give him a shot for 2.
I think the Scots feel their
Well, as you
Scott
can
supporters
see,
anyway are vastly outnumbered, so I think they're trying to make up for it in
I don't mind the red one.
noise.
No. If you hit what you can see.
I'm sure I heard him say just leave them two. I can't believe, I think I must have misheard that, because I can hardly believe they're going to concede 2 points. There's
Do you
one.
even see enough of it?
Oh, this would be...
Certainly got the Canadians thinking. They're concerned that they could be
Well, there aren't too
in
many
trouble.
options there,
No,
are there?
indeed, they could play a draw round to face the shot that Hammy McMillan just played,
Here across
but
to here.
if they do come right up to it, that would leave the same shot again for Hammy to come round and face it, and that would be a shot for 2.
What do you say, 3/4?
Or they're thinking of playing the takeout, the drive on this red stone, which they can only see 3/4 of it past the guard. That's what the discussion was there. The players down the far end of the sheet telling him how much he could see.
I was going to say, I mean, it's often difficult from sat up here, of course, but I mean, the benefit of the camera behind the stone, but it's a very slim 3/4, that.
Well, Jeff Stoughton will see for himself when he gets down and sits in the hack. He must think the shot's on. It certainly looks as though he has to hit all that he can see of it. Has to be very, very close to the guard, or he won't get the result that he wants. If he catches the guard, of course, leaves a draw for 3 shots.
Yep.
Sweeping. We're off now. It's big weight. Seems to think it's running back.
Okay. Good job.
Scotland have last stone
Sorry, guys.
and a pretty big advantage, and that's the reaction.
Well, Jeff Stoughton threw a very big weight at that. It was really moving down the ice there, as you saw, and perhaps for that reason it didn't get the amount of bend that he thought. It certainly stayed high. The sweepers were on it early, as though they thought it needed swept, and then let it go, and it just didn't draw enough.
There you were 3 and we hardly swept it. 305.
Well, one thing I can't afford to be heavy and
Well, 305, that's your shout then. Give us a call.
Eh?
Touch the 4.
So,
Okay. 305, I like that.
Well, you can just look on and hope at this stage that something adverse happens. Final stone then for
Clean.
the Scots.
Wait a sec.
Where's Greg?
Clean.
Clean.
sweepers judging this.
Top of the 4's good.
Where is it?
It's all there.
How all there?
It's all there. They think it's plenty weight.
No.
They've got quite a lot of room to draw to. They should make this. But it's heavy. Is it going to tap it too far?
Can you believe that?
It has, you know. If they had swept that a little bit, it might have held it on the high side and actually pushed the yellow onto the red stone of Canada's, and they would still have got their 3.
Well, will they live to regret that? From a position where it looked almost... Well, here's the reaction.
I'm sure before they started that end, if they'd been told they were going to get a 2, they would have been absolutely delighted, but having had the chance of a 3, they feel they've missed an opportunity.
It could be a very big opportunity. 4-2 Scotland lead at the end of the 6th. And not so much a mistake by Stoughton, but just perhaps a forced error. Again, the pressure being piled onto Canada.
Well, there were some good shots from Scotland that brought that about.
We'll take a short break. Rejoin us again in a few minutes. Scotland used a little more time, but not too much. They have the advantage by 4-2.
Easy, boys.
And it's the first 2-point end
You got it. Keep it clean.
in the match so far.
Easy.
Could have been a 3.
Easy.
I'm sure Scotland were expecting it to be a 3 anyway, with a free draw like that. Quite a big miss, really. That's Peter Loudon, the Scottish lead, throwing one into the 4-foot.
Let's hope that it doesn't actually cost the Scots anything more than just the single point.
Canada finding themselves 2 shots down. Back to the offensive game, ignoring that stone of Scotland's in the 4-foot and throwing the corner guard, hoping to make use of that later on in the end by getting one of their stones behind it. Doug Armstrong doing what was asked of him there.
No line at the moment.
Wider line.
Go, you bet.
Come on.
He's a big St Johnstone fan as well, isn't he, Peter Loudon?
He is indeed, yes. He's a Perth man and a great football fanatic.
He's in there.
Of course, a bit of ribbing last week with Hammy McMillan, he's a bit of a blue, isn't he? That was a good win, that, for St Johnstone.
Yes. I'm sure it didn't go unnoticed in the team. There'll certainly be some talk about that.
Yep. Right. Whoa. Whoa. Up in it that way. Come on now. Good shot. Hi, Doug. Beauty.
It's well played from Doug Armstrong. Still 2 Yellowstones there of Scotland, but the Canadian stone frozen pretty well on the front one of the 2, and that puts in a good position. Difficult to remove if Scotland were to try and remove that one. They would almost certainly lose their own stones from behind it, so good positional shot.
They're perhaps looking around for Hamilton, or Hammy McMillan's mother, who's been pictured on a couple of occasions knitting, hasn't she, on the touch lines?
That's right.
Does it to sort of reduce the tension?
I think it's probably that. She may end up with
It's
a
amazing.
pretty tight piece of knitting, though,
I
depending
was
on the
gonna say,
situation.
it's amazing the number of people that notice that. God, you can't take your mothers anywhere, can you? Huh? Gary Vandenberg.
Yep. Yep. Lots away, Jeff. Lots, Jeff. Oh, sir. Line's good. Yep. Whoa. Good, good.
Again,
All right.
it just took it's just a touch further than it was supposed to.
Yes.
So annoying when that happens, when you've done all the hard work of actually placing it right, and then you just get that little extra roll.
Well, just that little bounce from off the stone that you're trying to play up to can make the difference between a perfect shot and one that really doesn't do an awful lot of good at all.
Just your normal, peel it out.
Jeff Stoughton certainly playing tactics here to try and build up an end. He will clearly want to hit back with the 2 that he lost the last end as quickly as he can. Which is why he's leaving Scotland with these stones lying in the 4-foot. He's prepared to take a bit of a gamble.
Good throw.
You heard the reaction. Good boy, good throw.
Weren't too worried about lying in the house there. If they had stayed, they would have been behind the tee line, and with Jeff Stoughton calling this kind of game, he would probably have been happy with another Scottish stone behind the tee line there. He'd be using it to freeze. Gary Vandenberg, Canadian second player. Playing the other hand now, the in-turn hand. See that the stone rotating clockwise down the ice as we look at it, trying to freeze up to that back Scottish stone, just coming up short.
The applause just dying down from that play, and once again, as the end builds up, this is getting pretty crowded once again.
Well, Gary Vandenberg, Canadian second shot there, the left hand one of those 2 reds, you can see was a little short of where he wanted, but it's sufficiently good to cause the Scots a problem. In fact, Warwick Smith, Scottish third player, coming up to discuss things with Hammy.
The angles are not exactly
Hammy originally was calling the guard to cover the front red stone, which is just a bit frozen on their own yellow shot behind it, but I guess the team or Warwick don't seem too happy with that, so they're having a team discussion.
Well, I like Gordon on this side because he hits that side. That's pulling yellow back to the nose. Right?
I don't like that, honey. If we guard that, he's just going to tap that up onto the button. We're going to have 3 shots in there.
Then as long as you're guarding this side, he taps that to the button. You hit that side there, and it'll reverse back into this.
It's not going to stay in the nose, though. We guard that. We're guarding his shots. He's going to hit that, and he's going to lie 3. He's going to lie 2 anyway. We guard there. He's going to hit that and lie 2.
What do you fancy doing then? What? You want to peel that one out then?
What about that?
Oh. Quick that, don't that in there.
If I go past it, I get the nose. If I go past it, I get the nose, and I go straight back. We're still lying short. He's got to make a play. I like that.
I prefer that.
Okay.
So,
What do you fancy?
split decision on
Yes.
just exactly where they're going to go here.
Well, Warwick Smith seems to want to move this red stone. It is, after all, in shot position, so it seems right that they should get rid of it.
Fancy's peeling the red.
It's not so easy, though, because they have to get it past their own shot that's in the back of the 4-foot circle. If they jam this one on it, they could start to leave Canada with a few shots in play.
Maybe pretty close. Just take the one you want, Hammy.
You're going to peel one, you know better peeling the one he just played.
I like that. Yeah.
No decision made. They're going to try and hit that red stone on the left-hand side as we look at it. Force it between the 2 yellow stones. Played stone will run out of play as well, of course, but that's not too much of a problem. Powerful sweeping. Played perfectly by Warwick Smith. Super shot.
Tense moments there. Just to make sure they've made the right choice. And after the deliberations, which went on for a couple of minutes.
Well, it's one of the fascinating things about curling is there are always so many options in these ends. No 2 ends really are the same, not when you get a few stones in play anyway.
Which we go back to the wired up exercise and being wired up, and the fact that being able to listen to which way they're going to go is such a difference.
Well, it's good to hear the thought processes, the logic behind why they make the decisions. This is looking very heavy.
Well, it's gone way beyond and is being given some assistance. And that's a pretty slack shot.
Yes, he's not happy with that one at all. He needed just a couple more feet from his first one. I think he maybe was conscious of that. Tried to play a bit slightly heavier and ended up coming right into the back of the house. Hammy thinks it's now time for the guard. I think he's probably right.
3-1-5, 3-2, 3-2.
This time, no discussion.
No, they seem to be all agreed this time that the guard's the shot.
I don't want on the centre line.
It's got to be a long way up, boys. It's got to be a long way up.
Come on!
Sweepers giving this absolutely everything that they've got. Desperately trying to get the stone to travel a bit further and curl over more onto that centre line if they possibly can to make the guard.
Good shot.
Not quite as far over as they wanted, but they think they've done enough.
Bring that back, hopefully.
Jeff Stoughton tapping the red stone in the nose. He thinks he can still curl a stone round there, and with a bit of weight to tap his own stone back.
Wasn't much panic in the shout, was it?
And
it's fairly visible.
it is indeed. Trying to drive this red stone back onto the immediate yellow behind it, and possibly onto the one even in the back of the forefoot. It could just about be a double takeout.
Here he comes.
Well, it jammed, but Canada now have 3 stones in the house to Scotland's 1. Canada with last stone, having lost that 2 at the last end. They must be thinking perhaps they're going to have a chance to get their 2 back, maybe even more.
I'll have to see whether that hole that they've just created is wide enough.
I
They can see, well, yeah, it is, there you go.
They can see the Scottish stone. These 2 reds, though, that we see there look pretty good for a double takeout for Hammy McMillan. I'm sure that's what he's got in mind. If he does make the double, he could even lie the yellow in behind the guard that's there, which would mean he'd lie 2 with one of them covered. So at the moment things look good for Canada, but one good shot from Scotland and the advantage could swing back. As so often happens, it just takes a good shot or a bad shot and things can turn around. On the sweeping very quickly indeed.
And leaning in again to try and draw it away.
Just hit a little bit too much of the first Canadian stone and didn't quite come over with enough speed to knock the second one out the house, but Scotland now lying 2 shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you're talking about the fine line between failure. I mean, it was still a pretty good shot to be playing, because they had to travel a fair distance in between hitting the first stone to take the other one out.
Well, that's right. The difference between success and failure in a shot like that is really a matter of a few centimetres, really. So this is a big call from Jeff Stoughton. He's playing this second shot of Scotland's here. He's not going for the winning one that's on the button, as you see there, the back of the button. He feels, being 2 shots down, that he doesn't want to give up an opportunity like this to score 2, so he's prepared to gamble a bit. If he doesn't get this one, get the double that is, then that yellow Scottish stone at the back of the button is in a good position. Hammy McMillan put a guard on it. He could be looking to steal another point against Canada. I think that's what they're thinking, that perhaps it's too dangerous to leave it there.
This freezes on top.
So they're playing the draw. Or rather, they're not playing the draw. I think that was the suggestion by Jonathan Meade. Jeff Stoughton thinks no, because all that will happen is Scotland will come down and freeze on top of their stone.
If we can get her on the, if we get it here, sit on the nose and bump it out. If he dead freezes it, we still will have a shot for something. Yeah. Okay. So we'll throw hack.
Same as Johnny.
Hack what you threw would be good. Okay. I like this better. Yeah.
So indeed, they've decided that one on the back of the button there is too dangerous to leave. They're going to play a quiet weight, takeout shot at hack weight. That means with just enough speed to reach the hacks at the far end, which are the black rubber blocks that the players use to give themselves their push off for the delivery. He'll be trying to hopefully remove this yellow stone and maybe get a little bit of roll in behind the guard for cover, if he possibly can. So a relatively quiet shot this. Sweeper's been told to leave it alone. Looks as though, is it going to bend enough? They're trying to get this roll just on the nose, I think. On the nose, so Canada lie 1. Scotland have the second shot, but there are 2 other Canadian counters in there, so Scotland have to be very careful what they do here. They must hit and lie on this Canadian shot, the one that Jeff Stoughton just played. If they were to play a takeout shot and roll out the house, then Canada would have a hit on the Scottish yellow one you see there for 3, so they really can't afford to do that. They have to be very cautious. You heard Hammy saying just back ring weight.
Oh, there she is. She's doing a knitting again.
That's Janet and Hammy Senior. That's Hammy's father on the left and his mother knitting on the right. So a big shot for Hammy McMillan. This has to lie.
Stay with it. Weight's good. Whoa. 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 Yeah.
Sweepers are on and off. It's usually a good sign. Sweeping hard now.
Yeah, nice
shot. A good shot.
Good shot.
Well, that's cut the possible advantage down for the Canadians.
Well, it's back advantage Scotland, really. They now lie 2 shots. Jeff Stoughton has to make sure he scores here, facing 2 Scottish counters. Force him to take his one. You heard Warwick say there, Warwick Smith. Scotland don't worry about that too much. They would rather steal a shot, but realistically they expect Jeff Stoughton to make this one, which would still give them a 1-shot advantage and the last stone at the next end.
He's not failed to place.
Well, he's just got the same shot as he had with his last one, which he played perfectly. Sweepers are off this one, mind you. Played a bit more weight.
There's plenty of pace on that.
But perfectly played, perfectly controlled. 1 shot to Canada. Take the score to 4-3 in favour of Scotland after 7 ends.
So there you go. Scotland do lead by 1. Join us again in a moment for end number 8. Still just 5 minutes in between, but the extra time Scotland have spent has paid rich dividends so far, because the Canadians, for all the change in tactics, have been unable to shake off the Scots. And there seems to be, there's almost an increasing belief, and you can almost see it as you follow this match from the beginning through middle and toward the end, that they're almost gaining in confidence with every stone they play, and a belief almost that, you know, if this is the best that you can do, it's not good enough to get rid of us.
That's right. I think they played the last end very confidently indeed. Hammy certainly was not wanting to take any chances, peeled a corner guard early on, and they had a big discussion about laying a guard earlier on in the end, decided not to, and played very good curling and forced Jeff Stoughton to play an on-the-nose takeout for a 1. So yes, I would agree, their confidence is high.
Of course, remember the World Championships moving to Scotland next year.
Peter Loudon apologising there, the Scottish lead. You may think, why is he apologising when it's sitting right on the button, perfectly behind the guard, but it's just gone a little bit further than he wanted. That allows Doug Armstrong, the Canadian lead, to draw right up to it. That's at least what he'll be trying to do, and he would lie short if he did that. If Peter had been a little bit shorter, that wouldn't have been an option. Hanging out wide a little bit, so perfect weight, but just didn't quite draw enough, so good, but
we've not seen for a while, certainly we haven't seen in this game so far, a perfect freeze just yet.
No, but I think if we hang on, we might see some pretty good attempts from Canada. If they have to play these shots in order to get themselves in an advantageous situation. I'm pretty sure they'll be playing him soon. Well, that was an attempt there even to play the freeze. I think that's wrecking the guard, I think, which they're not allowed to do, of course. The free guard zone rule is still in operation. Peter indicating a little bit lack of accuracy there. He's just indicating with his hand how he a little salute for the skip, an apology. Knows it was a bad one.
Well, just again a clear indication of the level of concentration that needs to be maintained in order to achieve ultimate success in this sport.
So a mistake from Scotland there. Can Canada capitalise on this? They're trying to throw another draw around this centre guard. Still hanging wide. Big weight though. Again, not quite what they were looking for. They were trying to come right onto the face of the Scottish Yellowstone and the 1 foot circle there, and it just didn't do it.
Well, just for the moment then, maybe the game in the 8th end just beginning to perhaps lose a bit of precision for both teams, that is.
That's right. I'm sure Ewan McDonald will be trying to redress that situation. No, he's been given an opportunity to make a double takeout here. Both those Canadian stones could be removed from play if he can hit this in the right place, but has to make do with one. So Scotland lie the shot. Canada have one in the back of the 4 foot, so Canada continuing to come round to face the Scottish counter. I think Jeff Stoughton brought the ice in. That's the amount of distance the brush was from the finishing point on this one, and certainly swinging a lot more, bending far better on line. I think perhaps he had just given a little bit too much ice with those previous stones, but that one's certainly right behind the guard now. Although Hammy's lying the shot behind the guard and the stone in the house of Canada, he's not taking any chances here at all. He's peeling this short stone. Scotland have got the last stone advantage here, and Hammy wants to make sure that he doesn't get into a lot of trouble with short stones out front. So Ewan McDonald peeling this successfully, running both stones out of play.
Jamming onto the yellow. Is it? It's going to the yellow at the side. No, if you hit it high, it's not.
Just an indication there from Stoughton where he wants to play made.
As very often is the case with the tactics in this game of curling, not just thinking about the next stone that's going to be played, but trying to anticipate several stones further on in the end. This may seem a bit strange that Scotland are lying first shot there and Canada are effectively guarding it, but what they're trying to do is get cover on the centre line there, hope for a Scottish mistake, and they will try and find some way of getting rid of that Scottish counter there, and the short stone they've played will work to their advantage.
It's been annoying me for ages about who I think he looks like. It's Ray Wilkins. it's definitely Ray Wilkins.
Don't know if he qualified to play from Canada, would he?
Clean.
So again, Scotland peeling this short stone. Warwick Smith successfully running that out of play.
Good Warwick, same.
Well, there they're going for the same again, aren't they?
Good throw.
Pretty good curling.
Less. It's not too bad. I don't think it's critical, boys. Just the line.
Line's pretty good.
Line's very good.
Got a curl a bit.
It's going to have to finish it a bit.
Trying to get it to curl over.
Oh, you're good.
Across that centre line.
Again, assuming almost the same position.
Yep.
And will draw the necessary reaction.
You figure?
I don't know.
don't know exactly what we can do with that.
I don't expect he's heard of Ray Wilkins either, I think.
Yeah.
Just Gary's hooked on us, eh?
Wow, and Doug and I are standing there not listening. That was
Yep. Whoa. Attaboy.
So again, peel shot.
good water.
Interesting to see what Jeff Stoughton does now. He can't keep doing this. He's lying one shot against him. Can't afford to lose a 2 here. Yes, I think he's change of tactic this time. The end is getting near to conclusion, so he's got to watch he doesn't lose 2.
Well, no, but I'm thinking like it goes onto that one.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I guess the jam's there anyway.
I almost have to play this, and hopefully we don't roll too far, or we roll way over.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. You could take it to there.
Get it right on the nose. I think we'll play just to sit it here.
Okay. Tap it like to here.
Oh, just to freeze it on this side, eh?
Okay.
Well, you heard the discussion there.
It's just ticking it, get it back.
Sure.
You know?
Jeff Stoughton just trying to come down and play onto his own stone in the front of the 4-foot there. Get it into a safer position on top of the the Scottish counter. And possibly just tick it onto there and roll over and face the other Scottish stone that's to the side of the house. The one that's just at Jonathan Meade's brush. Just adjusting the ice fractionally.
Think so. Yep, yep. Hard line.
Well, that stone's picked something up on the ice. You saw the reaction of Jeff Stoughton there. Look of disgust in his face. That's a cruel blow. He's caught a piece of debris. They're very susceptible, these stones, to anything being on the ice, but very occasionally they do catch something under the running surface and makes the stone do something completely different.
Now, that is just with an interesting situation here.
That's nice timing, eh?
What's that?
Nice timing.
Yeah.
No worries.
Come up and sit there, what you
Very
doing?
philosophical about it all, but I'm sure they're burning up inside.
Okay.
Come up and sit there, what you doing?
Back him up and sit here.
Aye, he's just going to
If I sit in the nose, then he's, well,
sit on that side of it, it's all right.
Hammy must smell a 2 out of this end,
Centre line there. What do you think, Hammy?
which from
All he's got is that
position
then.
of 1 up at the moment would be a very good position to be in. Move into a 3-shot lead with 2 ends to play. The danger stone for them is still that Canadian shot that Jeff Stoughton tried to play down to.
Aye, don't want to sit there.
Clearly didn't get down to it because of the pickup, but it's still there.
hit it and take the back when I'm going to be left a double somewhere. What do you think?
I like that,
Try that to go right round. Try that to go right round the outside.
What's he got? He's got just now.
Get the hit in the nose here, actually.
Well, once
You don't want
again,
to be taking unnecessary risks, really, do you?
well, that's right. Once again, they have a few options, though. They're just discussing what possibilities they have.
If I don't do that right,
Well, to take 2 points at the end of the 8th would really heap the pressure back onto the Canadians and almost force their hand in terms of tactics for the remaining 2, that they would have to come out and score to win.
That's right. They certainly would have to throw all caution to the wind and really go for it.
Well, it would leave Scotland having to do nothing more than they've been doing.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
he's pushing out the back red. If I can lie about, then he's got to be really careful.
Yeah. Just so you're normal, eh?
Just normal.
Nose pretty good, eh?
Nose
Well, I have to say it's not the shot that I thought they would come up with. They all seem agreed, but even if Hammy plays this one perfectly, they could actually get more advantage by playing quiet takeout on the shot. Canadian one, the front of the 4-foot. Sweepers are on, they seem to like it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Good edge. Oh, that's great, Hammy. Nice shot, Hammy.
Well, he doesn't look, he looks a bit nonplussed with it, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think it's all that brilliant, I have to say. They removed a Canadian stone from play, but it was one that wasn't really doing all that much. And they might just have given Jeff Stoughton a little bit more cover. He still has to be very careful what he does. He doesn't want to set up a double takeout or multiple takeout for Scotland, but I feel he might just try and play much the same shot that he tried with his first one, which clearly was hampered by that pickup. As you can see, that yellow shot that Hammy just played, if Canada can push their own shot in the forefoot there, slightly on the left-hand side onto the yellow Scottish counter, it might get some hide from the centre yellow stone, but they're now looking at takeout in that other yellow shot.
We don't blow ourselves out of the water.
You want to try and stick it here then?
As we said, they can afford to be generous.
Careful on the roll. Like if he tries to
hit and roll in for 2.
He tries to hit and roll in for 2. He could, you know, with the weight they throw, he's got to be worried about that. So.
Yeah, if we get over to here,
yeah, if we get in there, good. Just don't want to sit here. Yeah.
Well, I think Jeff Stoughton worried that if he plays up to the his own stone on the top of the forefoot, that he might set up a double takeout for Scotland. So he's electing to hit this one to the side and try and get a roll into the middle. I think the reasoning being that even if he doesn't achieve that, Scotland have still got quite a difficult shot to play with a drop or 2.
Hard all the way. Yep. Hard. Whoa! Whoa. Yep.
On and off with the sweeping, must be close. Oh, a superb shot. Well, Scotland still lie 1, but
Nice shot. Thanks. Great
how
shot.
do they make 2?
At this point in the match, at 1 point is 1 point better than no points? I mean, would you like to blank the end?
I think
if
Scotland
it was possible.
Scotland would like to blank this one and the 9th end and go into the last end 1 shot up and holding the last stone, but that certainly isn't going to happen. As you can see there, they have to get a bite of the 1 foot circle in order to score 2. This is really the only shot they have, is the...
It's not an impossible shot to play. I mean, 2 is available there.
Absolutely, it's there to be made, but has to be thrown very precisely indeed. The sweepers have to be judging this one very well too. It's very much up to them to decide whether it needs swept or not.
Well, mistake. The time is running out, and mistakes have less time to be rectified, so it needs to be.
Sweepers have been on, they're leaving it now. It's swinging in nicely, the line looks good. Oh, the...
Just the 1 for Scotland, and not the end that they were looking for to that end. It's back up to a 2-point advantage though, 5-3. Canada though have the advantage in the 9th. Well, the Scots have recovered their composure, and it doesn't seem to have affected their play so far in this end.
No, very open end indeed. Warwick Smith just running the only Canadian stone in play out, and really no hiding place at all for Canada. Jonathan Meade, the Canadian third, has been asked to, I think, play this just up short of the rings. But quite late in the end for Canada to attempt to try and build up an end and score the 2 that they really need to get back into this game.
Okay. That's
great, John. Brush, boys.
Good shot.
Good brush.
Yeah, deciding that they would just throw it into the house. We're going to have to probably attempt to blank this end and keep their last stone advantage for the 10th when they're going to have to make a 2. Haven't got anything going this end at all.
Keep them clean because I think some of these stones are picking up here.
Just give us your
You
normal.
go down to the final 2, and it's just tantalisingly close for Scotland.
Well, if they can just keep things nice and clean and tidy for an end and a bit, gold medal could be theirs.
Well, the way the pre-final talk and a lot of the talk around here is it would be brave effort, but don't expect them to be there come the end. But, they've somewhat defied the odds, and they were pretty big odds before the start of this match tonight.
Good takeout from Hammy there. Confidently on the nose.
Put your nose in the last one, you know, put your nose in there, man.
I think the nose for your last one, eh?
Hammy McMillan won back-to-back European Championships, 1995, 96 and 97, but pretty sure I could speak for him that he'd hand all them back for a gold medal here today.
Oh, what a weekend for Scottish sport it would be indeed if it did happen. 5 Nations champions.
Yep.
Champions here as well.
Yep.
Again, these plays, although looking fairly academic, we have seen the odd glaring error appear now and again. And this is the time that tenses possibly of moments when the pressure is really, really on. As you know that you just don't have the time to recover.
Well, you can use it in house because it's here. Like I could have had it.
But it's really quiet inside this arena. The noise and the singing and the waving of the flags, or the waving of the Canadian flags, is somewhat lesser than it was a couple of hours ago.
Clean.
Straightforward takeout from Hammy McMillan.
Attaboy. Good age.
Pitch rolls out though. He did want to lie. He would have liked to have been counting there, make Jeff Stoughton play a hit and roll out in order to keep his last stone for the 10th end, make him blank the end. Now all Jeff Stoughton has to do is throw the stone through.
We got plenty of the oven.
I get the impression that most of this crowd here were expecting at some time over the past few minutes to have just popped out and got a refill of popcorn and expect the Canadians to have taken hold by now. But it just has not happened.
Well, if they're going to do something, they've got to do it in the last end. They must score 2 points there to force the game into extra time.
They've got the advantage then in the final end. It was a pointless end here, but Scotland going into the final end lead by 5-3. Look at the trophy. And that's a look at the what they call the rock clock. And we are in the final end. Scotland lead by 5-3. The Canadians need to take 2 to force this into an 11th end. Are they going to do it?
Well, they're certainly going to try their best. They'll play everything they can. They have to get some cover. Jeff Stoughton here calling for a short stone.
I mean, basically, they're going to have to do something that they've not done during the entire game so far, which is pull 2 points out of the bag.
Absolutely. The only thing to their advantage is that Scotland have got a 2-point lead. That's not to their advantage, but because of that, they may play very defensively and indeed may not take any chances at all, and sometimes that means giving up a 2 fairly easily to your opponents. It'll be interesting to see just how this end goes and what way Hammy decides to play it. Free guard zone rule in operation at the moment, of course, so they're not allowed to remove that Canadian stone from play much as they would like to. They're playing this tick shot. They're trying just to hit it very gently in the side, but hit it far too squarely, removed it from play, so it has to go back.
Well, it's a time to wheel out some of those age-old cliches about the best form of defence being.
Just the last 2 yards.
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, it could be that Hammy, if he's got the bottle for it, he could take them on and play an offensive end. I doubt if he will, I have to say. I think whenever they get the chance to peel these short Canadian stones, they'll be doing so. But the other way to do it, as you say, is to draw one round behind and take the game to them.
Yep, come on, come on.
This looks quite far up.
Come on.
In fact, it might even be in the house.
Farcical. Farcical. Keep going, keep going.
That's fine, Doug.
Well, just think back to that
Okay, Doug, that's fine.
end about 40 minutes ago where they just missed the three-pointer.
That's the one, yeah.
Well, indeed, with that 3, if all the rest of the ends had gone the same way, they'd be holding
No, it's still normal.
a 2-stone advantage here with last stone, which very much better position to be in. Or rather, there would be 3 up without last stone, but still a very good position.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Come on, keep going. Good boy.
So just running out of play now. Canada playing another corner guard here. Desperate to have cover. They must score 2 at this end.
Well, he's barely played a stray shot, as he, Ewan McDonald, just 23 years of age. Joint youngest competitor here, along with Sebastian Linkman from Germany.
Oh, we can. Line's good.
Got a pretty bright future, presumably.
Yes, I would think so, very much so. Very young, up-and-coming player.
Boy, Gary, good way.
That's a good shot from Canada. They now have 2 corner guards, and they're very square. That means that a take-out shot from Scotland won't be able to remove both of them in one go. I'm just happy to peel one of them away here. Ewan McDonald with a job to do it. The sweeper's on it very early. He wants to hit half stone and split these 2 stones out of play, which he's done perfectly.
So much of a roar down the eyes for that one, more of it's creeping down there.
Well, Gary van den Berg, the Canadian second, just trying to put that one
Try, Gary.
back where it was, which is exactly what he's done.
This invoked the same reaction.
Smith successfully completed the job.
All the time is putting the pressure back on Stoughton, Canadian skip. Stones are beginning to run out for the Canadians. Remember, it's been a bad championships for them, or for the women in particular overall, who didn't make the final and very nearly ended up having to qualify for the World Championships next year in Scotland by way of the European Championships. Amazing how they could have actually integrated the Canadians into a European Championship.
Well, it's never actually happened before, but I guess this would only be at the tail end of the Europeans when the challenge stages take place, and I'd imagine the Canadian team would have had to fly over to the Europeans and compete there. But they avoided it by winning their last game.
That? Oh, that's just light.
No, Jonathan Mead
You guys breasted the whole way.
asked to change their tactics there. Jeff Stoughton asked for that one in the house, round behind the corner guard that they have already. You can see the disgust from Jonathan Mead there, because he's really much shorter than they meant to be. The result of that being that the two Canadian stones in play are pretty close together, as you see there. That gives Scotland a chance to run both those stones out of play and really leave Canada with no cover at all. Bear in mind they have to score 2 here, Canada, so they must have some cover. Powerful sweeping.
Oh.
Well, far from the shot that was expected. That really is not good news. Not only have they left the short stone there, but actually pushed one of the Canadian stones into the house. So just a fraction away from what they were going for, but a very poor result for Scotland. Warwick Smith not looking happy at all.
More. Ladder room. Easy, easy. Hands
Oh, he's got the frosty. Small frost back there. It's not
He
going
didn't
anywhere.
make the right shot the last time.
room. Hands a
They're
room.
going to recover the situation now.
Loads of room. That means it's no danger of catching the guard stone that they're drawing past. It's a pretty good shot from Jonathan Mead, the Canadian third. Well, all of a sudden it looks as though Canada might get the 2 shots that they need to force this game into an extra end. It didn't look likely for most of the end. Certainly when Warwick Smith had a chance to peel those 2 Canadian stones away, it looked as though the game could be over, but it's amazing how it can change round.
Sorry? The back one. 10 goals,
Still just hanging in there. Still, remember, they have the lead by 2. If they can come up with something.
Well, I'm thinking if I ping a double, right? He should, right? He's got to come in. He's going to show me. He shows me anything. I've got a straight race for the game or something.
Well, those are the thoughts
You don't ping the double.
that has to deliver.
Or is he going to go that way? I think he's going to come in.
No, I think he's going to go that way. I can see the whole of that.
Tell you what,
Trying to anticipate what Jeff Stoughton would do,
you always get double your last for the game.
depending on what Hammy does with his. I think he's talking of trying to make the double takeout, just to drive that front Canadian stone onto the back one and split them both out of play. Trying to decide if he makes that, whether Jeff Stoughton would draw the other side of the rings or whether he would come in behind the guard.
And all of a sudden, the maple leaf is flying again as Canada may be about to seize the chance to take this into an 11th end. It would be really, really bad luck on a match that literally the Scots have been in control of for the best part of the entire evening.
Right from the first end, really, when they made that steal of 1 point, they didn't have the last stone at the first end. Made that steal of 1 and the 2 in the 6th, which could easily have been a 3. They really have been on top of the whole game.
He's fairly fearless in his approach. I mean, he quite likes,
I'm still going to be able to see half the back one.
well, he's still talking about the double. And again, there seems to be little sign of any tension there.
No, they look very businesslike.
Stoughton praying behind. That's the shot then that he's got to play.
Still she knits.
I wonder if she's dropped a stitch yet.
Passing up the chance to take part in the Mexican wave there, I think, because she's got hands full of knitting needles.
Here it comes then.
Big weight from Hammy. To drive this front one onto the back one. Sounds close.
it was a couple of inches in it. And again, close but not close enough.
Canada breathes again. Oh, very close indeed. I think Hammy thought he had it.
Was there an alternative to that shot being played?
I think the only other thing he could have done would be to play for the back Canadian stone, the one you see there. It's not completely open, but open enough, I'm sure, that he could have safely played the hit and sit. It would have meant that if he'd made it, he would have been lying first shot. If he'd stayed in the rings, it would have been beating the front Canadian stone, which the one he eventually hit, which would have meant Jeff Stoughton would have had to play a takeout on that one in order to lie two. By trying the double and failing, it just leaves Canada lying one shot and a chance to draw around his corner guard again.
Here he comes, and the crowd trying to draw it in as well.
It's a very nice draw indeed. I think Hammy will be able to see most of that stone. Whether he has a chance to make the double takeout with this one will depend on how much of it he can see. He mustn't wreck the guard if he was to play the takeout, because he could give up 3 shots and lose the match if he did that.
Like if you take it inside the center, like.
Well, now it's gone from maintaining a position in order to win to making sure they don't make a final error that could prove fatal to their chances. An extra end looks absolutely certain, virtually, barring an acute disaster of unbelievably seismic proportions. But what they've got to do is maintain an interest in the championship itself here.
Well, Hammy must make sure of getting rid of 1 here. As long as he gets rid of 1, he won't lose this game at this end. He may give up 2, go to the extra end. Right off, he's looking for the double takeout. And again, misses it by inches, and his played shot rolls out of the shot position, so Canada have got a draw for a 2 to take it to an extra end.
Well, the wives and the girlfriends clearly in a lot better mood than they were earlier on. It's been fairly somber up there. In fact, it's been fairly somber for the best part of the entire evening here. As far as the Canadians are concerned, that is. This needs to land for the... Well, it's got to be 2, and we will move into an 11th end.
A routine draw for Jeff Stoughton, just has to bite the 8-foot, but obviously a tremendous amount of pressure on this one. He has to get this one to stay alive in the game. Sweepers like it.
And here it comes.
Absolutely no problem at all.
Well, he wasn't going to miss that, and the Canadians are back from the dead. They needed 2, they got 2, and we will now move into an 11th end. Hammy McMillan will be hoping he gets his hands on. Scotland have the advantage going into this. The 11th end. There are the scores. What a time to score your one and only double. Right in the last end, and it's saved Canada.
Doug Armstrong, the Canadian lead, will be throwing a short stone here. Canada don't have last stone, so they have to try and establish some cover. They'll be playing this one short up the centre line. Key guard zone rule in operation. The Scots will not be allowed to remove that from play.
How was that? 2 rockets, a little fast.
The Scots haven't suffered from any indecision throughout the course of this evening. One has been fairly clear.
Loudon trying the tick shot again, just trying to move that Canadian stone to the side, which they've done very nicely indeed. That's a tremendous shot. Takes away one of the Canadian stones from that danger area up the centre line, and as a little bonus they've ended up with one of their own over counting in the rings, which at the end of the day might be a useful one to have.
How much will losing that 2 points in the last end affect the team coming into here? I mean, will they think that this just isn't going to be our day again? Another silver medal?
Well, I certainly think, still having last stone advantage, that they'll be confident they can win this last end. That shot certainly from Peter Loudon there with his first stone, that tick shot, was a very good confidence builder. They only have to survive this shot here, and they'll be allowed to start playing takeouts on these short stones after the free guard zone fails to operate. Peter trying to play yet another tick shot, just sailing past it this side. That's okay. There's really nothing to be lost there. These tick shots are very difficult to play indeed. Gives Canada a chance to swing a draw around behind that guard, or possibly drop another short stone. I think they're coming into the house.
Wait, sir. Good line, wait only.
He's got plenty of good line, and as he said, just leaving it for weight only. But
Lots of weight, they reckon. Looks pretty good. Gary van der Berg, Canadian second. Just a little bit heavy, but still biting the 4-foot circle and well hidden.
Again, we just hark back to the fact that there's been so very, very few mistakes in this entire match from either team, that you can actually pick out the vital moments. And once again, as you saw that last Scottish rock go sailing past and beyond the back line, you can't help but hark back to the 6th end. They should have had 3, but only ended up with 2. But that was better.
Yeah, Ewan McDonald doing what was asked of him there, just to keep things clear out front. Canada, I would think, looking for a guard here. They have to have cover. They're going to steal this 1 point that they need.
Here. Line's good.
One clean. Clean it.
Clean's good.
Perfect guard. Gary van den Berg.
Building positions around now.
Ewan McDonald asked to peel that one out of play again. Powerful sweeping.
Good boy.
And again, he's heard that said to him often enough tonight. Well done, good boy, but he's not missed.
Well, I'm
in my
giving him
memory,
every
a
encouragement.
shot.
He's the young lad of the team, and he'll be glad that his job's finished anyway.
Well, what a time to come in.
Absolutely.
You can almost sense the tension transferring from the ice back into the crowd. The Canadians just tend to go a little quieter, and you wonder whether some of that tension translates back to the team.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
Jonathan Mead just throwing the guard again.
Right up. Right up. Right up.
Playing it very well indeed.
Got to check on how the knitting's going for a while, have we?
Warwick Smith trying to make amends for that
Goodbye.
slightly less than perfect stone he played with his last one at the 10th end, but no problem with that one at all.
Line's good. Yep. Don't overcook it.
Okay.
Come on.
Out the line.
Line's very good.
Line's real good. Come on. Whoa, that's good. That's good.
Well, another perfect guard for Canada.
Nice shot. Thanks.
Scott still happy to peel the short stone away, peel the guard out the way, let them see that back stone.
Clean, clean. Good one.
Attaboy.
And there he goes again. You've just got to be so careful with what seems to be just repetition, that you don't just fail at the last minute. Your mind wanders.
One of the hardest calls in curling is just the same again. If you've played one shot perfectly, it's always seems it should be easy to do it again, but it doesn't always work that way. So the end, getting to the skip stones already. Canada lie that one stone in the back of the 4-foot circle. Jeff Stoughton playing a guard. I wonder if he'll want to be as long a guard as he's played up till now, because it's possible that Hammy might decide to draw around about it.
Tire line too.
Good line. Got to curl a bit. Come on. Hard.
Tighter line, we heard them say. That means it's, I feel it's drawing a bit more.
Just look at the effort again.
But it looks all
Trying
right.
to keep it going for as long as is possible. But again, it's not far short of a perfect shot once again from Stoughton.
Well, he certainly has laid the long guard. I wasn't sure whether he might want to be nearer the house than that, just in case Hammy McMillan decides to leave that one there and actually come round to the one in the house. There's such a big distance between that one and the short stone that he could probably play a tap back weight quite confidently. I think he's playing the tap.
Play barrier weight. Would you prefer? I prefer the peel. I'm going to play barrier weight. If I catch it back, I'm fine. If I don't, you can just appeal.
I like the straight peel, Hammy. Do you not like that? Pick the back one and he sticks a better one in than that.
3 stones remain in the 1999 World Championships. Scotland have the last stone.
Tell me what, you happy with that? You happy with that?
I think the argument being Hammy wants to take the stone in the house, but here Peter Loudon quite vociferously saying that if you do that, he might just put a better one in, otherwise he might draw around the centre guard to a better position in front of the tee line, in front of the button. Well, that's the peel that Hammy originally said he was going to play, so there's no big disaster.
The Canadian crowd can see something in that shot, but it does leave a very, very interesting finish here, just to say the least. The final 2 stones. Scotland have last stone here.
Pressure certainly mounting on Hammy McMillan, mounting on Jeff Stoughton as well. He has to play this one.
Deathly
Perfect
silence will fall around this arena. As he prepares to make his final play. World champion in 1996. Is he going to be world champion 1999?
Well, he's looking for this one for a guard on line with the stone that's in play. He'll probably want it up into the front of the rings, maybe biting the white circle.
It's carrying it along.
It's pretty well perfect. Takes away any chance of Hammy McMillan playing a takeout. He now just has to make a draw, and will have to...
Just has to make a draw?
Well, indeed. He'll never have played a shot under more pressure than this one in his life, I'm certain of that.
Well, she's even stopped knitting for this, the final stone.
Maybe dropped a few stitches.
There's a look at the trophy. Jeff Stoughton taking a chance to get a bit of refreshment. He will be back to follow this stone from the hand of McMillan until it draws to a close. Is this going to be the first World Championship for Scotland since 1991?
Just deciding which hand they're going to play this on, in other words, which turn they're going to put on the stone. They originally were going to play the in-turn draw, now decided there's more room on the other side.
You almost feel the nervous tension around this arena as the stone departs the hand. Is it enough?
Sweepers having to judge this. They think it needs swept. Hammy's up there joining them.
And listen to the crowd in the background. Has it got enough? Everybody involved right to the last.
He's made it.
And it's done. And Scotland are the 1999 World Champions. And some relief. What a play in the last stone. And it was not an easy shot either.
Certainly not under the pressure that he found himself in. That was absolutely amazing. Sweepers judged it perfectly too. Tremendous jubilation.
And what a release of tension now.
Mike Kay, the national coach, coming in to offer his congratulations.
Oh, Mike Hay, brother of Dave Hay, winner of the 91 World Championships, and sons, of course, of Charlie, or Chuck Hay, the skipper of the first Scottish team to win way back in 1967. Disappointment on the faces of the Canadians. But what a weekend for Scottish sport. And the championships, of course, moving to Glasgow next year. Scotland will arrive as defending champions. And there is the young Ewan MacDonald, who marries his fiancée on the 9th of September this year.
And that was indeed her that he was greeting then, I'm glad to say.
Oh, good potential for a major embarrassment there. There's the final score. Scotland 6, Canada 5. And what's that going to mean to the game in Scotland coming up in the next year, of course, when you've got the preparations for the World Championships?
Well, I think it'll be a tremendous boost, obviously. First time since 1991 that we've had a world champion. And everybody will be looking forward very much to hosting the World Championships in Glasgow in the year 2000.
And the president and vice president of Ford in Canada presenting the trophy to the victorious Scottish team. Hammy McMillan, Warwick Smith, Ewan MacDonald and Peter Loudon, the 1999 World Champions.